Fire away. Well, Hitch Leon was pretty clear. He felt like the players just, at the end of it, change coaches, change whatever, but the players overall got to be better and more consistent. How do you limit the lows, do you feel, as a group next year, that they could limit their lows? Or the length, I guess, of the lows?
I think it's more stopping the bleeding. And I think, that comes with maturity. It comes with experience. I look at 2 or 3 things where having a game plan is one thing to stop the bleeding, whether it's during the actual game or to stop it, the next game or 2 games later. It takes maturity to do that, and I think the players learned a lot about that this year. And I think that's a step to help them understand. That's a teaching moment that takes a little bit of time. You have to go through it before you learn. And I think the players understand that that's the key to getting in the playoffs. You're talking about 1 win a month, and that's the reality to get into the playoffs. But you're also talking about turning things around a little bit quicker and not letting it bleed out. And there was a few times this year that we took a little bit longer to recover. And the other thing, quite frankly, is that we weren't able to absorb significant injuries. When I look back, I know the feeling that everybody had when we got on the bus in Colorado, when we lost the 2 defensemen and we had 1 already out. I think we had trouble recovering from significant loss of players, especially on the back end. We held it together for a couple of games, but that kind of started the slide, and we weren't able to maintain the competitive level that we'd shown.
Hitch, when you don't make the playoffs, there's always changes in this game. This is compounded by the situation here. Coach, GM, maybe more hockey ops. Is this kind of going to unsettling off-season that everybody's looking at right now?
Yeah, we've known that for a little while, Robin. I think for me, I didn't know one coach very well when I started here, when I came in. I didn't know the support staff. And I got to tell you, the support staff for the coaches and the coaches themselves, this became a very tight-knit group. And I am really impressed with the job that they did to help me, and the way that we were able to formulate game plans and the way we worked together. I was really, really impressed with it. So whatever happens, it's in someone else's hands, but I got to tell you, this is a hell of a staff, and they worked really in cohesion with Todd, and then it wasn't long before we were able to put things together and work in cohesion too. And it was a really good group to be around, very professional and very, very accomplished, quite frankly.
You want to be back as coach?
I said that to everybody. I feel like, I'm not going, it's in the water, but for me, this has really invigorated me, Jim. I think it's because I came here and I've never experienced anything like this in my life, where you're on every day, all the time, and I really enjoyed it. I know I feel like I know we're not far away. I know it feels like we're a little ways away, but I feel like we're not far away. We need to add. We need to help the players that are here, but we've got a lot of our top players are playing at the top of their game. They're playing awful well. They've really had great seasons, so you feel like there's something to really build around, a lot to build around, quite frankly. But just being here, coaching here, living here, it's been really invigorating, and it's in my own way, it's been a lot of fun. And just to see how important the game is and how much it means in this city and in northern Alberta has really given me a new perspective on the game of ice hockey.
Ken, considering all the guys that have had career years for the Oilers, do you consider this season to be a missed opportunity for this franchise?
No. you can't go that way because it's a team sport. It's 23 guys. It's not 5 plus 18 or whatever. It's a team sport. You need everybody, and you need to augment your top players. I think the thing that I'm so impressed with is that they had career years offensively, but the 6 key guys all had great 200-foot years, and they really played a significant role in us becoming more cohesive on the ice. And I know their points got taken care of, and I know they had some big numbers, but more important for me is they really bought into the 200-foot game. So for myself personally, it becomes a much easier sell down the line. And it's much easier when your top players are doing it right. It becomes a really easy thing for a coach to sell, and it got easier and easier for me to show other people how to play a proper way because we had the top guys playing the right way.
When you talk about doing it right, it's an example of that last night. I know the injury, but Connor McDavid driving to the net in a game 82 when you guys aren't going to make the playoffs. Is that an example?
No, more. If you want to look what it means, like go look at one of the goals that Leon scored in the game before against San Jose, and watch the job that Connor did on the back check. He stripped a guy back. He caught 30 feet on a guy, stripped him, knocked him down off the puck, and in 2 plays it was in the net. That to me that's commitment. That's a hard way to play. Top guys bought in, and when you're top guys, that's what gives everybody so much confidence that this can be a real quick turnaround because you're not battling with the top guys to play the right way. They're already doing it, and they bought in, and so it gives you a lot of confidence that whoever comes in here, player-wise, the additions that get made, they got no choice now. They got to buy in because the best guys are doing it.
Ken, two-part question on Connor. First, he was adamant about continuing his style of play, i.e. following up on Daniel's question about going hard to the net. But part 2, how important do you think it is to get this kid who's the face of this franchise, face of the league, sort of going in the right way? He wants to stay here, but he obviously wants to be in the playoffs, and just kind of making this work and fixing whatever hasn't been right.
Well, I hope he doesn't change. He's a reckless, fearless offensive player, and that's the best thing you can have on your team because he's one step away from danger for the opposition every night. He makes people nervous. I've seen him in the last month where players are laughing at themselves because they can't keep up to him. I hope that never changes. For me, it's on us to augment things to help Connor, and he's made the commitment to play the game the way that we want it followed, and then it's on us to make sure that we augment him with a really solid group around him so that we can grow as a team. And like I said, Jean, for me, it's a good feeling when your top guys are bought in.
Is it easier to find role players to go as top guys as opposed to have a whole
Yes,
team of role players?
that's the point I'm making is that,
stars?
yeah, we already got the big part of the job done. I mean, you're sitting there with 3 center icemen. Who wouldn't want to play with those 3 guys? And there's teams that spend 20 years looking for that type of player, and we've got them here. Not just good players offensively, but players committed to both sides of the puck already. And so you slip players in there, you fit players in there. To me, the NHL is all about double-digit scoring. It's not having a bunch of 50-goal scorers or a bunch of 30-goal scorers. You need a lot of double-digit scoring. So you need depth. You need scoring depth on your hockey club, and it's on us to find those players, and I know we're capable of finding those guys.
Ken, the one element of this team that a lot of their better guys are playing for 3 years now, the penalty kill has just been very bad, second worst in the NHL over that span, and it hasn't even got above 80%. What have you seen in your time here on the penalty kill that needs to improve from the group of guys?
Well, 2 areas aren't good enough. Number 1 is we don't win enough face-offs, so we start in our zone too much, and we don't get that 200-foot clear that knocks 35 seconds off of every PK. That's number 1. And the second part is when we have the opportunity to clear the puck 200 feet, we're not getting it out. We're getting checked off the puck, and those are the 2 areas. The rest of the stuff, we've gotten a lot better. And in zone, taking away seam plays, down low play, we've done very good. But we end up in a 2-minute power play from the opposition. We end up way too many times with 2 minutes in our zone, and that has to change. We've got to get clears off of one face-offs, and we've got to get 200-foot game on clears going much better, because we don't get enough pucks out, so we get buried in our zone and we get tired people trying to defend, and that's not good.
A coaching change early in the season, the GM gets fired, there's lots of personnel changes in the room. When you look back, how do you think this group handled all of that?
Really well. I mean, it was, I think part of it was that Todd and I speak the same language. There was very little change in terminology, and we opted to not change the system. We tweaked it later on based on opposition in a couple of areas, but we didn't change very much. We both come from the same tree as far as teaching goes, and I thought the players adapted really well. And you can always tell with the way your best players play. If your best players look confused and dazed and they don't buy in, then you've got confusion. And it was a continuation of good play by the best players, and that's the telltale sign.
Hitch, sort of asked this already, but
You're going to ask it again?
Well,
okay.
you want to coach here, but we know there's a new GM, possibly Pageau coming in. Convention is a new GM comes in and calls his shots. So
100%.
Gets a good coaching staff. You said that you had enjoyed working with them. You said this has been a great kick for you too. How do we balance all that?
It's 100% in someone else's hands. There's a president and general manager, and they're the guys that make the decisions, not me. That's up to them. It's 100% up to them. I'm just telling you how much I enjoyed it. Even having to deal with you, that was okay with it.
I haven't.
You want Keith Gretzky as the general manager?
I'm not saying anything like that. I just said it's in someone else's hands, but I really enjoyed this experience.
You talked about how much you enjoyed coaching the top players. Just out of curiosity, you've been around the game for so many years. Where does coaching a guy like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl rank in terms of career highlights?
Well, highlights is one thing, but really all I had to do was lift the latch, open the gate. Like, they bought in right away. So I don't want to say it was easy, but it was much easier than I've had before. So it was fun. I mean, when you say go and do this, and then they go and do it, or these are adjustments you made to make, and then they go and make the adjustments, and they do it, and then the team has success, they have success, it becomes easy. And that's what I'm saying is there's a lot of easy players to coach here right now, and that's what gives you such a good feeling that this thing's going to turn out fine.
Do you still think that Leon should play center, but he plays better with Connor?
I think he should play center. I think he can absolutely dominate the game in all three zones if he plays center. So, but it's on us to find the right combinations for him to perform at a high level, but I believe he should play center.
So in the perfect scenario then, is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins a first-line winger or a third-line center?
No, he's a center. We've got three top centers. Three top centers on good teams play anywhere between 17 and 23 minutes each. There's lots of ice.
Find a winger from the outside.
Thanks, guys.